Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Today we're going to change the oil on a Ducati M1100. It's pretty straightforward. Just pull out the drain plug, let the oil drop down into your pan. You'll notice that some genius put a K&N filter on this bike and put it on too tight. K&N filters are probably the worst oil filter you could put on your motorcycle, the most dangerous oil filter you can put on your motorcycle. So I can't get it off with a wrench, so I'm going to use oil filter pliers to get it off. So this is one of the reasons K&N filters are so bad. People think that nut is there to install the filter. That oil filter should only be installed hand tight and maybe a little more. But from the problems you see me getting this oil filter off, you can see that they really cranked down the torque on that oil filter. So we're going to get rid of the K&N oil filter and replace it with a Ducati OEM oil filter. Ducati OEM oil filter is the only oil filter you should be putting on your Ducati. You spent the money to buy yourself a Ducati, you might as well use an OEM oil filter and take care of your Ducati. So I grabbed a little bit of oil from inside the drip pan and put it on the O-ring of the oil filter. That will help the oil filter come off easier next time, and it'll help that rubber gasket get a little bit better sealed up against the engine. So as you see, I'm just twisting the new oil filter on and into place. And then I'm going to take my oil filter pliers and I'm going to give it just a little tiny turn. Just a little bit, see? Just a little bit. Just enough to make sure that it doesn't vibrate off with the power of this V-twin. L-twin, I'm sorry, Ducati has an L-twin. So we're going to check this. Inside that cap is the gauze filter. And there's a little drain plug for the gauze filter. So we're going to check that. I'm going to put the plug in first before I start taking out other plugs. The gauze filter plug is a different size hex head. So I'm going to put in the drain plug first, and then I'm going to change tools to take the gauze filter out. And I'm actually not going to take the gauze filter itself out. What I'm going to do is take out this drain plug, and what we're looking for is just some little sparkly bits. So this oil is pretty fresh that's in this motor. The bike hasn't really been ridden in the last few years, but the oil still looks new. But we were looking for any kind of chunks or sparkly stuff coming out of that hole with the oil. I expect that gauze filter, if I were to remove it, it would be absolutely clean, 8,000 miles, no sparklies from inside the engine, no metal chunks fell out when I removed that screw. So safe to say that this bike's probably good inside. It's probably as nice inside as this bike is outside. So we're going to wipe down any oil residue off the motor. Then we just put our pan out of the way. And now we're going to come to the other side and fill it up. You're going to ask me what kind of oil to put in your Ducati. I don't care what kind of oil you put in your Ducati. Just put oil in it. This M1100 monster has a dry clutch. So you are welcome to put any oil your little heart desires into this bike. When I work on a motorcycle, the oil that I put into motorcycles is Mobil 1 High Mileage 10W40. Mobil 1 High Mileage 10W40 does not mess with your clutch discs on wet clutches, and it's going to be perfectly fine in this bike with dry clutch. So if you want to use just regular car oil, synthetic car oil in your Ducati, in your M1100, as long as this is a 2009-2010 model year, as long as you have a dry clutch on your Ducati, you're okay using whatever kind of oil your little heart desires. it'll be okay. So this bike, to fill it up, took me about 3.2 quarts to fill up the bike and the oil filter. So I don't have the manual for this bike. I'm gonna assume that just like most Ducatis, anywhere between 2.8 and 3.2 quarts is what their engines take. This one was 3.2, and you can watch it with the oil filter installed. If you take it just above the top line when you start the engine and the oil filter fills up, it'll come down to about the just below the top line. And that's where you want. You really want to have, to the top line of the engine with oil. That way when you're zigging and zagging through the mountains, your engine's getting well lubricated and you're protecting that engine. So as you can see in the little sight glass, the oil line is slowly going up. And again, you just want the level to be slightly above that top line, and it's going to be about 3.2 quarts. If you put 3.2 quarts in your motor and you start it up, once you let your engine settle down, after you turn the bike off, you'll see that the line is going to come down it's going to come down right about to the full level. You'll be good. So there you have it. We've got our oil in the bike. We're going to put our cap back on. And I just want to say, thanks for watching this video. I'm making the videos for you to help you out. If there's a certain video you might want to see in the future, just ask me. Maybe the bike will come through and I'll do a video on it. If you're interested in doing the belts on one of these, I'm about to do the belts in the next week or so. So that'll be a good video to watch. And thanks. Please hit subscribe and help me out.